Look at the API documentation. There's a number of primitive interfaces that mirror the main types of predicate, consumer, function, and supplier. And these are provided to avoid the negative performance consequences of autoboxing and unboxing. If we take a look at the consumer interface as an example, you'll see that there's interfaces named double consumer, int consumer, and long consumer. So instead of the line consumer angle bracket double and then some variable name to indicate that we're passing in a value that's a double and not returning anything, we could instead write double consumer some variable name. Now besides these interfaces, if you want to return any of the primitive data types, you can also use calls such as toDouble function, toInt function, or toLong function. And if you plan to consume a primitive data type and return another type, you can use double function, int function, or long function. So we take a look at how we can return primitive types. Our example here uses the toDouble function interface, and that takes a generic type and then returns a double value. We also have an apply as double method that can be used that's listed within the interface. So here's our example for returning a primitive type. So you see we have a toDouble function, and then in angle brackets we have sales txn, and our variable name is called discount function. And then we have our lambda expression that takes our sales txn object that's passed in. It calls the get transactional total, and then it multiplies it by the get discount rate method. So that will generate a double value, and that's what gets returned from the sales txn object that's been passed in. So you see then we have on line 24, we call discount function dot apply as double in brackets first. So again, we're making use of that additional method within our toDouble function interface. So we're calling apply as double and passing it in our sales txn object. Next, we're going to look at processing a primitive type. And so we have our double function interface. And notice that double function only specifies one generic type, but a function would actually take two. So the apply method takes a double and returns the generic type. So in our case, what would be similar to a function with the two parameters, in this case, the double in our case is the input, and the generic type is going to be the output. And we also have an apply method that will return that generic type, and we have a one parameter that's going to be a double data type value. So we look at how we can use the processing of a primitive type in an example. On the screen on line 11, we have double function